Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and welcome back to my channel, Stubbornly Bookish. Today I'm going to be doing a ginormous book haul. So in the summer months I decided that I was going to try and restrict my book buying, and I did really well until about maybe mid-August. And frankly, it's insane the amount of new books that I've bought as well. So I have so many to haul. I might actually have to split this up into two. We'll see how long this ends up being. I've got, oh my god, just so many books, and I have a small unboxing to do as well. So I'm not going to spend too much time discussing the books that I've bought because, again, we're on a time crunch here and there's just so many. So for this first part of the book haul, these are all of the books that I bought used. The first book I grabbed was Gillian Flynn's Dark Places. Gillian Flynn is an incredibly popular thriller author. I haven't read anything by her yet, but I think this one comes really well reviewed. This one was really beat up, but it was $1, so I figured why not. I also picked up You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. This was kind of an impulse grab, if you will. It's nonfiction, it's supposed to be motivational, and I could use that in my life right now, so we'll see. A find that was very exciting for me was The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. This is Ruth Ware's most recent thriller novel, and it focuses on this woman who tries to con this ultra-rich family into thinking that she's a relative, and things are supposed to get really creepy and twisted and weird. And I haven't read Ruth Ware, but I was really excited to find this one because this was just released in like May or April, and I got it for $1. I also picked up World War Z by Max Brooks. This is an oral history of when I think there's a zombie apocalypse, or maybe it's just an apocalypse. And basically it's just told through letters and interviews and is an oral history of what went down during the apocalypse. This is actually quite a popular novel, and I know the movie was made as well, but I think the movie is supposed to be pretty different. I also managed to find myself a copy of Legend by Marie Lu. The Legend trilogy is one of the most popular dystopian trilogies that came out in the height of the dystopian era. I still personally really like dystopian, and I still want to make my way through the backlist, and I've been really looking forward to getting to Marie Lu's Set trilogy, but I actually have absolutely no idea what this book is about. The next book I grabbed was Birdie by Tracy Lindbergh. This was very popular a couple years ago. It was popularized by Canada Reads, and if I'm not mistaken, this is an Own Voices story about a Cree woman. I'm pretty sure it's Own Voices, but I'm not 100%. This one was kind of a weird pick for me, but I grabbed The Takedown by Corey Wang. If I'm remembering correctly, this is about a young girl whose life is all set out for her. She's going to like a fantastic school, she's got scholarships, but then this video surfaces of her having sex with her teacher. However, it was doctored, and basically you follow her hunt to take down the video and like crack down on whoever is doing this to her. I think this one has the potential to be very interesting and engaging, and I don't think I've ever seen any sort of like revenge porn type-ish stories out in the world, so yeah, this is interesting. I also managed to find The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye. This is the sequel to The Crown's Game duology, which is basically pitched as the Night Circus meets Russian folklore. I haven't actually picked up the first one, but I am very excited to have the set complete. Another exciting find of mine was The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I'm going to be straight up with you and say I just bought this because I like the editions. I love these Penguin English Library editions. I think they're stunning, and anytime I find them at the thrift store, I'm guaranteed to be picking up them because I think they're just so nice. These next three books I actually found all together and were very exciting for me, each and every one of them. The first one is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This year I read Parable of the Sower by her, and it was one of my favorite books. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kindred is her book about vampires. I'm pretty sure she is a vampire one. She's one of the most prolific and acclaimed science fiction writers ever, and Parable of the Sower is fantastic, and I plan on reading her entire backlist. I also got my hands on a copy of We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is a book that I've been wanting to read for years. It's about this young gay boy who is abducted by these aliens, and he has the opportunity to save the human race, but he frankly doesn't know if he should. It deals with severe depression, so a trigger warning for that. Possibly suicide as well, but Sean David Hutchinson is an author I've been very much meaning to read, and I cannot wait to get to this one. I'm so excited for it. And in that same little trip, I also found Paper Girls, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. Paper Girls has a lot of mixed opinions. It's very popular, but I have also seen reviews in which people don't love it so much. All I've heard is that it's similar to Stranger Things, but it follows a bunch of girls running their paper route. I'm very interested in reading this, and I was thrilled not to pay full graphic novel price, so I'm happy to have this a part of my collection. The next thing I found, I was so thrilled to get my hands on, and it is a copy of The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, but it's actually an ARC. I know there's a huge discussion that goes around discussing how you really should be purchasing ARCs. That's not the point of them, but The Upside of Unrequited is one of my favorite books. It has encapsulated my experience so very well for certain aspects of my life, and it means so much to me, and I had to have it in my possession. It's not something I do like ever, purchasing ARCs, but this one I couldn't pass up. I also didn't say what this was about, but it is about a fat girl named Molly who has had crushes on like 26 different boys, and all of them have been unrequited. And then some boys come into her life that might not be unrequited. It's lovely, its own voices, and boy, did I love this book. I love all of Becky's books, but this one means a lot to me. I also managed to find volumes 1 and 2 of Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan, Pia Guerrera, and Jose Marzan Jr. This is a bit of an older graphic novel series that I believe is completed, but it is about the last man on Earth, when basically all other men die, he's the last one, and women are ruling. These are very, very popular graphic novels, and I'm interested to see my thoughts on them. I also got my hands on a copy of The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is a popular, I think it's adult fantasy about a regressed society. I actually already own a copy of this, but it's a trilogy, and my 2 other books I own in this edition, so I picked this one up, and so now I have a completed trilogy, which I'm very happy about, and these ones are so much nicer than like the original paperback I have this in, so I was very happy to stumble upon this one. I also grabbed 3 Wishes by Liane Moriarty. I picked this up for my mom. She likes Liane Moriarty. This one is kind of gross now looking at it, but we'll see if I get to it or if she does. And these last 3 books I got used, or literally the last 3 books that I just picked up at another thrift store when I was away visiting my friend. The first one is The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. This is translated fiction. It is translated by Ken Liu, who wrote The Grace of Kings, which is also a very popular adult series. This, however, I believe is more sci-fi. I've heard a lot of good things and a couple mixed things, so we'll see how I feel when I get to this, but it did win the Hugo, and I've been saying for a long time that I want to read more translated fiction, so I'm excited that I have this. I also managed to get Bird Box by Josh Malerman. This is one of BookTube's like favorite horror thrillery type books to recommend. I've had my eye on it for years. This is set in a world where there's this crazy like plague or flu going around, and it is, if you like look outside and view this thing, you go crazy and like you kill yourself and kill your loved ones. And so we follow a mother with her children trying to travel from one place to the other, but because they can't view this thing, she has to do everything blindfolded, and it's supposed to be incredibly suspenseful and thrilling. And the last book is quite possibly one of the most exciting things I've ever hauled or found in a thrift store, and it is From Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon, but it's the Owl Crate edition. I'm a subscriber to Owl Crate. I have my own copy of this already, and I stumbled upon it in the thrift store, and I wasn't 100% sure that it was the Owl Crate edition, but I made sure, and it is, and it's so weird. I think I'm going to attempt to do a sort of giveaway with this one because it's a very rare book. It's not something that's in circulation. It is like the slightest bit beat up, but I think someone would really like to have it. However, we'll see how well that goes because Canada Post is currently striking, so we shall see. I placed a small order for Book Outlet. I think I only have like 4-ish books in here. Oh, fun. I picked up Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. This is the sequel to Scythe, an incredibly popular dystopian series. I am very interested in Scythe. I think it's incredibly like right up my alley, and I've never actually read anything by Neal Shusterman, so I really want to change that. So I just figured, why not pick up the sequel as well? I think this one is the reason why I placed my order, and it is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. The Wicked Deep follows this town in which, like centuries ago, these 3 women were murdered for being accused of witches. And so every summer they actually, like their ghosts come ashore and they possess 3 girls and basically lure all these boys to their death. It really makes me think of Sirens and that type of story, which I haven't read a lot of, but they've always interested me, as weird as that may sound, and I just wanted to get my hands on a copy. I'm really hoping to read this before Halloween is up because I think this is the perfect atmospheric type of Halloween read. I also picked up Sight Witch by Susan Dennard. This is the prequel to the Witchland Truth Witch books, which I haven't started yet. I want to, I really do. I have a feeling that the series I'm really gonna love, so I just picked up the prequel as well. I finally got Sabriel by Garth Nix. I own 4 other books in this series, but I didn't have the first one. Can I tell you what this is about still to this day? No, I cannot. I just know that it's classic YA fantasy. I'm intrigued to finally start this series. I also grabbed A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is supposed to be like a magical realism, fabulism type story that's also a bit of a Romeo and Juliet retelling. It's supposed to be beautifully written, wonderfully done. I cannot wait to read this one as well. Oh, I was hoping for the hardback to be yellow, but that's fine. This one I've been really eyeballing for a long time, so I was thrilled when it popped out on Book Outlet. And the last one that is a part of the Book Outlet stuff was The Last Namsara by Kristen. You can read it. There we go. That's how you say it. All I know is that this is a young adult book about dragons, and I was sold. I love dragon fantasy stories. They're the best. And the author is Canadian, which is always fun. I think the sequel actually just recently released, but I'm excited for this one. Hi again. I just actually got finished filming my part 2 to this haul, and then I remembered that I've actually recently again gone to the thrift store, bought 4 more books. What's new? And I want to haul them before I put this video up. I don't want them to be just sitting on a shelf for my next haul because frankly, I want to stop / slow down my book buying and I don't want them just there waiting. So I'm quickly going to haul these last few books. I picked up Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Her mystery novels are frankly some of the only mystery novels I've ever really been interested in, but I can't tell you what this one is about. I also picked up A Man Called Ove by Fredrik Backman. Fredrik Backman is a crazy popular author who I think originally writes in German, and all of his works are translated. These books are supposed to be incredibly emotional and lovely and wonderful, but I've never read any of his books. But everyone, including people who don't tend to love like literary fiction / just general fiction works, tend to really like his stories, so I'm interested in this one. I also managed to grab a super exciting copy of a book, and that's Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi, but this is the original edition. I do vastly prefer the new editions of the Shatter Me books. I haven't actually read this, but this is quite the collector's item, and I'm thinking that if I don't end up loving Shatter Me, that I could possibly do a books for trade or something for someone who really, really wants this book. It's in pretty good condition. Oh, maybe not. It's maybe not in pretty good condition. I didn't look. It's crazy dog-eared, but that's alright. It's still kind of a collector's item, right? Oops. But the book I was most excited to find at the thrift store was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. This is by Leslie Walton, and this is, I think, one of the most popular fabulism type stories around on BookTube. It was really popular a few years ago. A lot of people really tend to love it. The only thing I really remember is that it's about this girl who also has feathers / maybe angel wings. It's supposed to be absolutely beautifully written, and I really tend to love fabulism, although I don't read it very often. Hopefully that was short enough, and I will send you back to Past Isabella. So I was really hoping that I would be able to get through all of these in one go, but that's not going to happen. So at least part 1 of my book haul, the used book haul, is done. I'd like to thank you so much for watching and just sticking around. Part 2 of this video should follow fairly quickly. Hopefully I'm better at editing this book haul. Let me know of any of the books that I have discussed with you, what ones you've read, what ones you recommend to me, because I have so many new books and just so many books in general on my TBR that I have no idea where to start. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you again very soon. Bye.